So I just saw this article from Huffington Post, and it is entitled "This Old Episode of MTV Cribs Makes Us Miss Goofy Beyonce," and the tagline is "Before she put up her personal partition." And partition is an interesting word because of the MK Ultra splitting of altered personalities that I've covered in past videos, and it's a well-known fact that Beyonce has talked about alternate consciousness and alternate personalities. One of which is named Sasha Fierce, who does the performing for her. I've covered this in past videos. So in the past few years, I have found this to be incredibly helpful to go back and watch old movies that you've seen, old TV shows, or things that were iconic, perhaps had an effect on you, and watch them with the consciousness of seeing Illuminati symbolism and satanic narratives, because we've all been dosed up on this stuff. There's so many movies now. I've watched movies that I watched, Disney movies that I watched when I was a kid, TV shows, and I've gone back and watched some of this. Of course, I did this with the Full House videos, where people have watched this show for years and years. And you watch it and you're getting dosed up with satanic imagery, with narratives, and you don't know what you're getting. It's side effects, it's hidden ingredients, it's things that are affecting you as a human being, and you have no idea because you're not aware of it. You don't know the symbols. You don't know who's controlling the system. And then when you get a sense of this and you go back and watch these old movies and these old dynamics, you say, "Oh, no wonder I feel bad." Your psyche, your personality, and your ego, and you have no idea. And so you've been receiving this garbage for years and years and years, and it's good to go back and see what you received. Now, recently, I watched the Matrix movies with my kids, and they were a lot better than I remembered them, and they're just loaded with symbology. And there's a couple of things here, and this actually ties into this video as well, because the actor Keanu Reeves actually plays a role in this Beyonce thing that I'm going to get to in just a second. And that is that there are two types of movies here. There are movies where the director and producers are trying to warn the masses of the Illuminati symbolism, the hidden secret societies, and the fact that your leaders are devil worshippers and praying to demons and these types of things. And then there are the movies where they're trying to hurt you and give you this information without you consciously being aware of it, and drag you down in your subconscious mind and saturate your inner world with all of this satanic evil. So here's this MTV episode of the show Cribs. And now if you remember this show, it used to be they go to a celebrity's house, which they called them their crib. MTV trying to be cool. And we know that MTV has been just indoctrinated with this type of imagery. There's just lots of satanic worship with MTV. And so you go into this house, and Destiny's Child. Now, I missed the whole Destiny's Child thing. I was aware of them, but I just wasn't following that type of music, any type of pop culture music at that period of my life. So I missed this whole sort of Beyonce phenomenon. But Destiny Child opens the door, and they live in a shared home with Beyonce's parents, and I've covered their parents in past videos, and I think that's important. And so these two other girls, I believe Kelly Rowland's one and Michelle Williams is the other, and they bring you through the house. And they show a picture, and it's loaded with stars, Britney Spears, NSYNC, all of these early, late 80s, 90s figures. And they're going to an MTV Music Award, and they're all having a party at something that appears to be possibly the iris of an Illuminati eye, and it's unclear. But you have all of these celebrities, these music people, and they have the MTV TV heads and all that, because MTV has just always been evil. And you can say that's an iris of an eye, but it's not conclusive. And then they show a painting. It's the only piece of artwork I think they show. and it appears to be another eye there. There appears to be what looks like an eye in the center. It's not totally conclusive. And then there is the Freemasonic compass, which appears to be a Freemasonic compass, as is above, so is so below. And then on the left, you see a fish that could be considered a Christian fish off to the side, like, these people that pose as Christians, but in the center of their existence is devil worship. But again, it's a little bit of a reach. It's an abstract painting. You couldn't really make a video on that. But there's plenty more here. So then they go around the house and eventually end up in Beyonce's room. And she's got a bedspread, and she says this: I got my bedspread custom made, and it later says it was made by her mother. And clearly you can see that she is sleeping with her head at the capstone of the pyramid. And it's a pyramid that she has made. So this is way back, I don't know, when she first was starting her career. She's got royalty, of course. We know her now as Queen Bee, and she is the queen of Babylon, and so this sort of satanic worship. And she has the pyramid, and it gets worse from there. There's pyramids everywhere on her bed, these floating capstones, and again, all designed and made by her mother. And this is where she's sleeping. And not only is it a pyramid, but it's made up of smaller pyramids. It brings me around to the recent video I made about Hillary Clinton. Of course, Hillary Clinton is being supported by Beyonce. And this ad where Hillary Clinton has these pyramids made out of people. And so from there she goes over and she shows that her dresser is shaped like a genie's bottle, and she does the genie in the bottle dance. So again, this idea of jinn. Her lamp again looks like a pyramid. It's a theme throughout her room. Of course, this is exactly the kind of imagery you would see in somebody that is going to be the queen of the darkness. And then Kelly Rowland drops this bombshell, and she says, this is the same bed from the movie The Devil's Advocate. Now what's important here, and when she says this, Beyonce says Devil's Advocate with her, so they harmonize Devil's Advocate. Now I never saw this movie. It stars Keanu Reeves as the devil's son and his lawyer, and it is also with Al Pacino as the devil. And I looked through the movie, and I could not find a bed anywhere. The only thing that would resemble a bed was an altar where a lot of the devil worshipping and sacrifice part of the movie take place. It's not a good area. And so this is where Beyonce is sleeping. The movie is just filled. This is a really horrific movie. I just watched bits and pieces of it and just scanned through it, and it's just filled with all of this stuff that we talk about here, all of these things, these images that they've been pushing out there for people. And why would they make such a movie? And then why would anybody want to sleep on the bed that is connected to the devil with an Illuminati pyramid bedspread? Now, there are a few things here. There's a lot of interpretation here, because this end scene that takes place in this altar, which is like the only bed in the whole movie, literally the only bed in the whole movie, is this altar. And on this altar, Keanu Reeves, the son of the devil, is supposed to create the Antichrist with his sister. So this is how the movie ends. And Al Pacino is looking on, and this is where basically the climax of the movie is. So you could say that by saying that that Beyonce's saying that this bed is the devil's advocate's bed, that this is where the seed of Satan is sleeping. And so this is a reference to that. That's pretty much, I think, the best interpretation, but none of them would be good. Also, what I noticed from what I saw in the movie, that it is very much like the dynamic between the characters Adrian and Richard or Neil in my book The Choice, where the father is trying to pull the son over to the dark side. And so I found that to be interesting because I'd never seen this movie before, but that dynamic takes place there as well. And I think that this is something that's important for everybody to know, that they are not hiding any of these things and haven't been hiding them for any real period of time. There has been a concerted effort to insert in your psyche and your children's psyche and your parents' psyche for years and years and years since they started making television, all of these types of imagery, all of this type of morality, because the immorality that goes with these movies and the way that they're just love is just downplayed and relationships are downplayed and the family is destroyed and corrupted, and this is how evil works, and they want to get this message over and over again. And the message of this Devil's Advocate movie is the devil always wins in the end, because although Keanu Reeves appears to take a divergent path from his father's wishes, but the devil character shows himself as the way that he's orchestrating this pathway too. So no matter what choice Keanu Reeves takes, because the devil's son takes, he's going to end up in the same place. And so the video, the MTV Cribs video, ends with Beyonce putting in these sort of witch-like, hag-like teeth, displaying a witch-like presence, a witch-like altered personality that sleeps on Satan's bed. So this is what MTV rolled out. Of course, who noted this back then? The Illuminati wasn't even talked about. And remember, there's a recent song, I've done a video on this, I believe the song was named Formation. And it starts off with her talking about this Illuminati mess, like somebody else created this Illuminati mess. But when you sleep in a bed with pyramids early on in your career, before you become this iconic figure in the public's eye, and your husband is throwing up these pyramids, which you claim to be a diamond, but clearly the pyramid is something, the pyramid theme is in pop culture now and so prevalent, as is all of this Illuminati symbolism. So they have been trying to warp people away from the connection to God that all of us have. And again, this is what's pure and wholesome in one's life. Love and hard work and working and sacrificing and living a path that you are following, that God lays down in front of you. And ultimately, I talk about this over and over again, is to connecting to the part of you that's God by meditating and enhancing and nurturing the best part of yourself, the part of you that is God's seed. If you could say that you have a devil seed inside of you and you have a seed of God, and by living a life of love and sacrifice and making the right decisions and building a good character and these types of things, you nurture the part of you, the seed that is God, and that's what sprouts and flowers and becomes your essence as a human being. But when you take the seed of Satan, the ego that's within all people, in fact, Al Pacino makes reference to this in the movie Vanity and talks about the ego quite a bit. If you take a selfish path, a hedonistic path, and you water it with decadence and all these types of low character quality types behaviors, and that's what you end up with. You end up with a large ego that's the seed of Satan. So this is something that everybody needs to know about. You can use different words, descriptions, different religious texts, spiritual organizations, whatever. It's the same thing. The pathway is the same thing. It's a very simple path. There's part of you that's God, part of you. You have love inside of you. You cultivate that love. You work on cleaning out your heart and having a good heart, a nurturing heart, and you will eventually become a more spiritual and godly person. You continue along that path, and the world becomes a better place. If you nurture the ego and these sorts of things, which we see over and over again in our modern day culture, you get the kind of hell on earth that we've now created. So it's something for us to be aware of. It's something that we have to change our orientation towards life, something for us all to think about. And everybody have a blessed day.